Hello, welcome to Neighborhood Foods Farm. My name is Noelle Warford. I'm the Executive Director of Urban Tree Connection. We're a nonprofit organization located in West Philadelphia, and our mission is to build a community-led food system using land-based strategies and community leadership development. So we have been around in this neighborhood for over 20 years, and we've worked with neighbors to redevelop over 86,000 square feet of vacant land and transition it into community greening and gardening projects. So this is one of 8 different sites that we have. We have a mix of community gardens, pocket parks, and then this is our largest site, which is a 3/4 acre vegetable farm, which was founded in 2009. In addition to our green spaces, we also have a host of educational programs where we teach young people about urban agriculture and food justice. We also have community workshops that range from healthy cooking to making medicinal tinctures with vegetables and herbs from the farm. This space that we're in actually was an abandoned lot. As you can see, it's surrounded by 4 different blocks, which is the back of our neighbors' homes. And it was something like a car repair shop, and there was like a lot of materials left behind. The owner moved to Florida, and so a lot of the neighbors were concerned about the short dumping and the overgrown space that was here, which is quite common of a lot of the vacant spaces that is in this neighborhood, the Haddington neighborhood. And so we were in another part of the neighborhood at building up a community garden there, running children's gardening program, and we connected with the block captains here and then came up with the idea of like, what if this was an urban farm? We spent many years remediating the soil. This is the only site that we have where we're actually growing directly in the ground. At the community gardens, we're growing in all garden beds. So after several years of remediation, we got our first high tunnel from Penn State Extension, and then we started to grow these crops, and we use all sustainable growing practices. After the remediation of the soil with the crops that we grew here, we were giving it to the neighbors all for free, and one of the founders of the farm, one of the block captains, said, I think that we can charge $1 for a bag of vegetables and that neighbors will want to invest in the farm. And so that is what started our first farm stand that we've run every Saturday over the last 8 years, that is led and run by community members, and what also prompted our community-led farm stand program. So this farm, it was founded by block captains in the neighborhood, but it also has been able to exist over the last 10 years because of support of neighbors. And a big part of that support has been around being able to secure this land as a community farm through being able to acquire the land. So maybe 5 years into us being on the site, we were able to get conservatorship of the land, and that required us to get the approval of all of our neighbors around us, and for the neighbors to say, yes, this farm is providing a benefit to our community. We want it to be here. We find it to be an important resource to our neighborhood. And so with that, we were able to have conservatorship over the land, which is a very rare legal tool that you can use to be able to have land tenure. And then after having conservatorship of the land, we were able to acquire it for a very nominal fee. So it's really important as an urban farm, particularly in a major city where development is happening very quickly, to be able to have long-term tenure of your site. And that really preserves this space as a community asset into the future. That's the story of Neighborhood Foods Farm and how we came to be. So as an organization, we've adopted food sovereignty principles, which is really important to guiding the work that we do, which is that food is for people and that local food systems are really important to making sure that people have control over a critical resource like food, that people are able to access culturally significant foods, and that everyone has access to healthy food. And so the reason why this is so important is in this particular neighborhood is Haddington is a 96% Black working class neighborhood. There's very limited options in terms of that access. And so as communities of color that historically have been marginalized out of the food system and agriculture system, For us, this is really important to be able to reclaim land and to have communities of color come back to the land and reconnect with the environment, reconnect with their food system, the food that's being grown, the skills of growing food, and also to be able to really preserve cultural foodways and keep crops that are important to culture, to healthy living, and to making sure that as people of color, we have a healthy future. Food sovereignty is embedded in all of our educational programs. We have a youth apprenticeship program for high school-age youth where we mentor 10 young people in urban agriculture, food justice, climate justice. And so it's a hands-on apprenticeship where they come to this farm, they go to the community gardens, but they also study just transition, which is a framework that has been developed by environmental activists, labor activists over the last couple of decades to talk about what is the type of economy that we need that will promote social and ecological well-being for all people and for the planet. We dig more into how did this neighborhood, how is it shaped over history to where some people have access to some resources and other people don't. And so that's a key part of what we talk about in our youth program, in addition to what does it mean to grow our food sustainably, to really think about how do we mitigate climate change, how do we reconnect to the skills of growing food, and how do we learn how to manage a resource like a farm or food and growing food for our community and for neighbors. We also, in addition to the youth program, we have a farm apprentice role at the farm where a community member is trained. This year it was a young adult is trained on the farm in urban agriculture because really we want to develop people's skills to be able to enter the food system. And then we also host monthly community education workshops that range from everything from healthy cooking to making medicinal tinctures with herbs from the farm. We also worked with a local chef this year. We had to, of course, under COVID-19, do everything differently. So we had all of our education programs online, on Zoom. We did live cooking demos. We provided our young people with culinary kits at home so that they could really have the skills and the tools and the resources to be able to use the food that they were growing at home and from the farm to provide healthy meals for their families.